Hello, thank you for clicking on this video. So basically, it's just like the title and the thumbnail suggests. We're going to be reading crazy stories while doing my forever world. So I just spawned in. It's the first day. You're going to watch me just build it, and you're going to listen to me tell this crazy story. The first one is pretty crazy. I want you to go in the comments section, and while you're down there, you might as well subscribe and leave a like. But I want you to actually tell me if this is creepy or not. Because I think well, you'll see. I'll give my opinion afterwards. But I want you to go down there while I'm telling the story. And if at any point you think it's creepy, just comment down below and say that. Because I want to see what people think as the story goes on. So this first one is a gift I can't stop thinking about. Okay? Let's get into it. I make content. I'm on OnlyFans, among other platforms, okay? It's my full-time job and something I'm proud of. That's cool, I guess. I wish I was a female. Anyways, but I keep it quiet. Where I live, not out of shame, just boundaries. I film in my space sometimes, but I try to be respectful. I wear sweatpants in the hall, smile politely. I don't bring attention to myself. I've lived in this building for over a year. It's quiet. People mostly keep to themselves, which is what I like about it. I thought I'd blend in pretty well. A couple months ago, I came home to find a small package at my door. Brown wrapping paper. No name, no note inside. It was a bottle of face oil I recognized from a wish list I once posted. High end. The kind of thing I'd scroll past and tell myself I'd buy after the next payout. I figured it was a mistake, maybe an Amazon mix-up. I left it outside my door for a few days. No one claimed it. Then a week later, there was another package. Same plain wrapping, with this time a pair of thick wool socks and a little slip of paper tucked inside. It said, in neat handwriting, "For those editing nights you always mention." That's when my stomach dropped. I did a slow, careful flip, because that phrase, editing nights, is something I've said in my captions for videos. Not often, not loudly, not enough that someone paying attention might remember. Or, sorry, but enough that someone paying attention might remember. I looked around, the hallway was empty, and the silence suddenly felt heavier. It didn't feel threatening, just close. Someone knew who I was, someone here, in the same building, wasn't just watching, they were listening. And not to the sexy parts, not the curated stuff. They were listening to the offhand comments, the real parts, the quiet in between moments I didn't even think people noticed. I haven't told anyone. I didn't file a report or install cameras. Nothing else has happened since. No more gifts, no messages. Just life moving on. But I still think about it. Not with fear, with something more complicated, like nostalgia for a moment that shouldn't have felt as intimate as it did. Whoever it was, they weren't trying to scare me. They didn't ask for anything. They just saw me. The girl in the socks late at night, editing herself to something worth sharing. And for reasons I didn't fully understand, that stayed with me. Interesting. Now, do you think this is creepy? Let me know. I think it's kind of creepy, but at the same time, if he was like trying to shoot his shot with her, then maybe it's kind of cute, but he wasn't. He just let it go. He just gave her the gift. So I don't know. Honestly, I don't even know if it's creepy. Like if I put myself in those shoes, I feel like I would feel a little creeped out, but at the same time, like it wouldn't really be that creepy, especially if nothing else happened afterwards. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's go on to the next one. Actually, before we fully move on, I want to read this comment. Someone said, "Oh, that's incredibly creepy. I don't know, but maybe someone recognized you and then followed you. I'd let the security know if you have one or get a dog." Now that I actually agree with you. You probably should let the security know. Like tell them like, "Hey, this happened, but like I don't feel uncomfortable. I don't think they're like stalking me or anything." Well, shoot, they have to be not stalking you, but like if they just live in the same building and then they've realized where you live, that's not weird. If they like stalked you to figure out where you live, like they followed you from somewhere else, then yeah, that's weird. So in this situation, yeah, probably let the security know that, hey, this is what happened, whatever, whatever, just so that they can like be aware. I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Okay, so for this next story, I didn't actually read the whole thing. It looks interesting. So this is a 13-year-old male, and but what they were 11 at the time of this story. They don't. There's no title, so let's just read it, and we'll both be surprised together. But hopefully, it's not weird. For context, I, 13 male, was 11 at the time and in fifth grade. It was a random day. I was chilling with the OGs on the playground, right? My ex friend, who was extremely narcissistic and thought he was the leader, said, "Hey guys, we should be a mafia." I'm like, "What the F is a," and he actually says the real F word, by the way, but whatever. What the F is this guy talking about? An ex friend too comes in and immediately starts agreeing. Now, to save time, I'm going to call them EF1 and EF2. Okay. After a minute of talking, I somehow got assigned the role of spy. I say, no, I'm not spying on people for your BA little operation. I'm not spying on people for your little bit at operation. EF1 is saying I'm getting kicked out of the friend group for no effing reason. Fast forward to a year and a half later. I'm at the current friend's house. Let's call him John. He and I are riding our bikes down a big hill and we are going really fast. I'm sitting down while he's about to go down, and so I stand up and move my bike out of the way. He goes down without warning, and I'm on the side he's on. I'm trying to move my bike out of his way and he yells, "Move!" So I try to move out the way, but I had to lift my bike over the little concrete curb so I could move. I look back to see how far away he is, and he's like 20 feet at the max from me. So I just stood there like an idiot, and he fell and fractured his thumb and had a concussion. Ooh. Later, after everyone found out, I'm getting flamed, and my friendships are slowly falling apart. EF1 decides to blame me for everything, which is justified. It was my fault. But then, at my other current friend's house, let's call him Joe, I'm there for his birthday, and I get jumped like 10 times in the first 6 hours. Okay, pause. This is me talking now. What does he mean he gets jumped 10 times for the first 6 hours? Now, you got to remember, this is a 13-year-old writing about a time when he was like 11. So maybe to a 13-year-old, getting jumped means like someone goes up and tickles you, or like, I don't, like, what do you mean you get jumped 10 times in 6 hours? What are you talking about? What does that actually mean? Do I have the wrong idea of what getting jumped means? Back in my day, getting jumped means and meant that someone beat you up out of nowhere. Like they rolled up out of nowhere and just beat you up. Ain't no way that's happening to you 10 times in 10 days, let alone 6 hours. So I don't know what he means by getting jumped. But anyways, let's continue. Keep in mind, John has already forgiven me for it, and we are on good terms. Okay, so the bike situation is cool with John, all right? But EF1 is still mad at me. Now this has nothing to do with the story. I just need to get it out. He has hemiparesis, and his top teeth stick out a lot. Oh shoot. Okay. I'm not trying to be mean, but he's really chopped. But has where was I? Sorry. But has the audacity to call me a Dobby and Stephen Hawking's offspring. Hey yo, what? You that's fair game. If he's calling you that, you get to make fun of his teeth. Yeah. That's fair game, dude. Anyways, I'm not saying I'm sort of really good looking dude. I'm just saying if a girl had to pick me or him, I would be picked 99% of the time. But he has just been a dick to me ever since for no reason. So I'm thinking, should I confront him, fight him, or just cut ties with him? All right, little bro, I'm gonna tell you straight up. You need to just don't fight him. If that's your solution, either fight him cut ties with him or confront him, well, yeah, confront him politely. But if that's going to lead to a fight, bro, don't fight over someone. Like, that's stupid. That's corny. That's stupid. Don't be doing that. Just, if you think it's going to lead to a physical fight, just cut ties. That's stupid. Ain't no reason for that. Y'all are 13 years old. Like, you could just, you can just chill. It's been 2 years already. It's kind of crazy that it's even still an issue. Like, when I was 11 and I had beef with people, by the time I was 13, they might have been my friends. One of my best friends throughout my school years, our relationship started out with us fighting, like a physical fist fight. And then it turned into us being friends. So, yeah. And then there's another friend who was my best friend until middle school. And we just, out of nowhere, like that, stopped talking. The most we said was, "Hey, man, what's up? It's been a while since I talked to you," whatever. In like the end of sixth grade. And then after that, we never even talked ever. So it's just whatever, man. Life goes and you make friends, lose friends. Whatever. There ain't no reason to fight someone over something so stupid, especially when it's his. They seem to be in the wrong. They're being weird, talking about let's make a mafia. Like, what do you like? All this fake gangster stuff is so cringe. By the way, in your guys' age, it's super cringe. Like, it is literally nothing but cringe. You just because music, ex gangsters and rappers and stuff make music about their life when they were gangsters, when they were doing what they're doing, they're rapping about their life. They're not saying that, well, most of them, some of them are, but they're stupid. Most of them are just rapping about their life. They are not saying that you should do that. You should be like that. Go listen to T Grizzly's robbery story if you want to hear some gangster stuff and see how it really turns out. Everyone betrays you. Yeah, so honestly, cut them. If they want to be gangsters, that's so cringe. Cut them, man, because it's just going to end up with everyone stabbing each other in the back anyways. So no, none of that. Next story. Real gangsters are people who were brought up in that life and they hate being in that life because they had no choice. They were born into it. It's disrespectful, honestly, to get real gangsters who that's just how they grew up and they had no other choice and nobody actually likes being in that life. I hate when people try to glorify it, like I said. Anyways, let's move on. Because it's real issues out here. Anyways, I'm gonna move on. I could just sit here and ramble about that forever, so I'm gonna just stop myself. All right, I always find trigger warnings cringe, but I get it. So I'm going to just give you a trigger warning. This one has topics of, well, I think the whole story is about self exiting. So if you ever had thoughts of that, you've been warned now. And don't ever do that, please. Like, even if you're an actually bad person, still don't do that. Like, you could always change, you can make up for what you've done. Like, just don't self exit. Don't do that. For real. Seriously, there's a hotline and everything. Like, go use that. But anyways, you've been warned if that's a triggering subject for you. Let's continue. I got too scared and forgot to self exit myself. I got to censor myself because YouTube. So a few hours ago, I called crisis services. I was genuinely considering exiting myself and had nobody to talk to and just needed a voice and somebody to listen. They said they'd send me a volunteer to take me to get help, and they'd meet me at the corner of my street so my roommates wouldn't have to know. I get there. There's cops waiting. They get they get out and walk up and ask to see my hands. While reaching for handcuffs, I look around. There's cops cars coming, fire trucks, and they're all reaching for buttons and flashlights or handcuffs. So I obviously effing run. I'm hiding behind cars and in between houses. They're at my house talking to my roommates about me. I had to sneak in a side door and hide in the attic since it's snowing. I finally found a place I can go for counseling tomorrow. But when someone asks for help, why do they pull up like I belong in prison and go for batons? This is like in a I think this is like in the UK, so the police don't have guns, thankfully. Um anyways, I called for help and I get effing jumped by the police or arrested. Everyone sees me as crazy now, and I get why. I just wish they would see it through my eyes and not belittle me for it. Just to be clear, I'm good right now, not really looking for a pity party. Processing everything and found a place to go for counseling and maybe some antidepressants and mood stabilizers tomorrow. Just need to find somewhere to live. I'm way too embarrassed to leave my room at all now or show my face to anyone I know. This has just been a wild night. So that he's writing this the same night. Dude, that's insane. That's not okay. Like, that could make his condition worse. This is why police, like, police, don't get it twisted. Police is a good thing. It's good to have police. That's a good thing. Don't ever let yourself get manipulated. I hate the police. I hate them. But they're a good thing to have around. They are a net positive. Don't ever let yourself be manipulated into like, oh, F the police, man. Abolish the police. No. I hate the police. And I'm still telling you, police are a good thing. But they don't know how to handle everything, dude. Like, like, what even miscommunication? Honestly, it might not even be the police's fault. Whoever he was talking to on the phone, like, what did they say? Right? It might not even be the police's fault. But yeah, you can't expect police to be able to handle every little thing. However, I don't know how low IQ they were to think that anything they did was okay and appropriate for that situation. Pulling up with their batons and reaching for the handcuffs like you're going to be under arrest, like you're going to exit someone else. That's basically, it seems like, how they responded. And I'm talking about USA police. This was clearly in like the UK or a different country where the police don't even have guns. So, but that's still insane to me. That's like, what? I'm glad he's in a better spot. And yeah, let's move on to the next story. What do you guys think about that? Because I think that's crazy. You call a crisis hotline. It sounds like you didn't even call the police, right? And you get the police showing up like as if they're going to arrest you, like you're a criminal, like you're about to exit someone else, not yourself. I just think that's so insane. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I'm really curious to hear what other people think. All right, for the next story, we have a relationship one, which I don't necessarily like hearing all the time because most people who do these types of videos always do relationship stuff. I guess it's relatable. People like hearing it. But me personally, if you subscribe, I'll probably do like one of these per video maybe, but like it's just like so repetitive. Like, I like to just random stuff about everything I just did. I like to hear more about that type of stuff. But let's read this. So I just posted about the worst date of my life. Here's the post. Back when I was single and on apps, I matched with this guy and he's super cute. He had a shirtless mirror selfie. I'm assuming this is a woman, by the way, not like a gay man. Not that that is a bad thing. I'm just pointing that out. Like, I think this is a woman. Anyways, back when I was single and on apps, I matched with this guy and he's super cute. He had a shirtless mirror selfie, which was usually a hard pass for me. But he seemed sweet/nerdy, so I talked to him. He tells me how he's really worked on his body because he was heavy growing up and really awkward with women. I'm thinking, he doesn't realize he's hot. Anyways, I'm homesick that week and bored, so we message a lot and even FaceTime. And he's quirky but interesting and kind of funny. He seems to be pretty smart. He's working for a biotech firm and applying to PhD programs. Yeah, that sounds like he's smart. He tells me about how he has a daughter back home in Illinois, that she was the result of a one night stand with a friend. That's crazy. That, sorry, my bad. That the friend didn't tell him he had a daughter until she was 5. That's crazy. And that he barely gets to see her because she's being raised by the mom's friend. That is outrageous. That's disgusting. That's not cool. That's so messed up. Anyways, like, I will kill someone if I had a kid and I didn't know until she was 5 and then I don't get to see her. Oh no, someone's gonna die in GTA 5. FBI, if you're listening. Anyways, we wanted to meet soon. I dislike talking too much before meeting, but like I said, I was sick. And I agreed to a late movie because it was midweek and neither of us had a ton of time. And we'd talked so much already. I kind of just wanted to be physically in the same room to see if there was any chemistry. We met at the theater, had a couple drinks, and at the movie, he was fine, and I was attracted. Second date is okay, but I'm feeling a little off. Something just feels funny, and I'm thinking this isn't going to be more than a friend's thing. We end up going to his place and watch Blade Runner. and I'm uncomfortable within the first couple of minutes. His apartment has weird vibes, like super disorganized, and he's hung an old oh, my bad. And he's hung an old beach towel on the wall as a decoration. WTF? We sit down and start the movie, and I'm getting more and more uneasy. He leans over to kiss me, and I kiss him back for a second, but then tell him I'm not ready for that, and can we please slow it down? He says that's fine, and stops the movie. That's weird. I look at him like, He then proceeds to tell me he's in love with me. He's dumped his longtime fiance who lives in Illinois to be with me. Whoa. And that he would like us to move in together ASAP and try to have a baby. I think he's joking at first, but quickly realize he isn't. He asks me if I will say I'm his girlfriend out loud, which I do because I think about true crime I watch and don't want him to murder me. I feel like if I show him I'm scared, he's going to freak out. He then asks me if I'm ovulating right now because it turns him on. Oh no, dude. I fake yawn and tell him I'm exhausted and it's a work night and I really want to see him tomorrow, so I'm just going to go home and get rest. He looks totally crestfallen and says, "Okay, but before you go, will you do me a favor?" At that point, I think I'm about to be murdered. I say, what is it? He asks, will you stand in front of a mirror with me so that I can see how beautiful we look together? Absolutely terrified at this point, I walk out of his room stupidly, but I'm just trying to placate him because my gut feeling was that he was likely not a murderer, just insane. We walk into his room and it's a disaster, piles and piles of clothes everywhere. We stand in front of the mirror briefly, and then I say I really have to go, grab my bag, and refuse his offer to walk me to my car. I then straight up run to my car and get home. I check my phone, and there's several video texts of him touching himself where absolutely horrifying. I shudder thinking of them. I now realize that the reason isn't he isn't in his daughter's life is probably because the mother realizes he was disturbed and she had every good reason to keep him in the dark. Yeah, probably. I get nauseated just thinking about him. I quit dating for a while and never put myself in another situation like that again. Yeah, I couldn't necessarily keep it together when I was reading that. I try to keep my thoughts for the very end, but whatever. That's a wild story. Like, what a weirdo. What a creepy weirdo. That's like some Ted Bundy stuff right there. What do y'all think about that? Any females who might be watching, what would you do in that situation? Like, I'm just curious. Um, all right, man. I don't know how to end this video, but that's going to be it. That's the end of the story. Tell me what you guys think about all these stories down below. And yes, subscribe to hear more because I'm probably going to record another one later today. So, peace out.